I pay for the Disney Channel every month. $6. It's worth it. Just when I had an itch to see a specific Simpsons episode, because up until now, wherever it was on, whatever thing it was on, it wasn't, perfectly
No, it's not going to be as nicely as archived as Disney's going to do it.
Right. It's perfect. I found it in 10 seconds.
It's worth it.
Did you? Don't you get a free as a? Oh yeah, you're a Sprint customer. I forgot. I thought you were smart and you were on Verizon, but you're on Sprint with me.
I can't go Verizon until I cut the kids loose.
Which is going to be soon, right? When are you going to tell them?
Well, it is going to be soon, but I can't because they're in a Verizon dead zone out there near wherever they are near Asheville. So,
oh yeah, that's right. I guess that is correct. Yeah.
So they have to stay with Sprint, even if I.
When are you going to kick those when are you going to be able to cut loose those freeloading kids?
Oh, believe me, it's coming.
When are they getting their notice?
What's 30 years between friends?
At least you got to move. You got them to move out before they were 30, so that's a win for you. I understand that's a little problem among. Two old men on the porch bitching about millennials. Hey, everybody. Yes. All right, it should be shared on my stuff, I think. Yeah. As far as I know.
It's just I was too lazy to grab it when the little notification came up, so now I have to find it the old-fashioned way.
It's this rain that makes everybody lazier. It's just this stupid tropical weather. Hey, Katie. My God.
Okay. Be with you in a moment. Yeah, it's there. All right.
Ready when you are, sir.
It is the Brad and BBCast Veterans Day edition. A salute to all of our veterans and those who are currently serving. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything to add to that?
I don't know Bo so much. I know Hunter, and I know about his laptop, and I know. Speaking of veterans, sorry. Yes, Veterans Day 2020.
One decent moment. One moment. And there you are in the back of the room throwing spitballs. What? Everybody's head has to go down on their desk now for 5 minutes. The whole class has to stop.
I have a lot of favorite veterans, like my friend Bryant, obviously, who does the Katie Vick is Alive wrestling podcast with me. Bryant Williams, formerly Bryant McKay on FM Talk 101.1 WZTK. My uncle Steve, who was an MP and in the National Guard, and my stepfather was in the Army, and I had grandparents that were in the Army, and my stepbrother's in the Army, so I got a lot of favorite veterans, and I hope they all have a good day. And every day should be Veterans Day, right? It's like Mother's Day. Every day should be Mother's Day. So yeah, I salute the veterans on their day for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, I continue to stand strong with our president in his desire to make sure that every legal vote is counted, because
sarcasm alert.
There just seems to be, there's so many questions. There's so many questions and no answers. What are we going to do?
Do you know what I saw on election night instead of watching the coverage, especially early? Dr. Strangelove was on Turner Classic Movies, which is just a Peter Sellers tour de force. If you've ever seen it, he does like 7 different roles, and he's just amazing.
I've seen it.
It's unbelievable how good he is. And there's really some absurd shit that happens in that movie. It's not anything compared to what is going on in reality today over the past 7 days, or 8 days in this country.
Wait. Think about what you just said.
I know.
Think about because that is considered possibly the greatest farcical depiction of government ever.
Yeah.
Things were thought of.
Right.
That people just could not imagine ever really happening. And now we're beyond that.
I was thinking particularly
Trump has rendered fiction useless.
Yeah, the Nazi
fiction useless.
The Nazi scientist that they're using laying there who can't keep he's in a wheelchair and he can't keep his arm from going into a Heil. Peter Sellers, and the thing just automatically reflexively. And I'm thinking in particular of this Laura. You've seen the Laura Ingraham clip with the person in the shadows with their voice disguised.
Yeah, no, but just describe this because everybody hasn't seen this yet. Because again, this is it looks like a parody. It looks like a parody because there's obviously not any kind of voter fraud that's going to change the election, and there's no proof, and there's nothing. There's nothing there. So on Fox, Laura Ingraham, much like what we do on Zoom every day or StreamYard, whatever this platform is, where it's just two boxes next to each other with people's, and they put the guy completely shadowed out. You can't see his face at all.
I think it's a woman. I think it's a woman.
Is it a woman? And usually when they garble the voice, they garble it enough that you can understand it. And this was so over garbled. Right?
I don't have my
it sounded like ask me a question. Ask me a question.
What did you see when you went to the polling place?
And then you answer as if you understood me. It's like Sid Caesar, okay, speaking gibberish in 1954 on your show of shows. Dated reference, sir. Dated reference.
In the Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13 movies, they've got like an Asian guy, and he speaks Chinese. And the gimmick is that he'll speak the Chinese, but the guys will know what he's saying, and they'll answer him back in English and laugh at him. And that's what it was. Just the most absurd thing. I don't know when did it become popular on news programs to have people shrouded in darkness with the shadows? Was that in the 60s or the 70s or whenever they did that? They've been
doing it forever.
But they had her on there and they're asking him
forever. But
it's absurd.
Beyond that, I did take a bullet last night for about 5 minutes on that show on another segment. I think it's been highlighted in some of the usual places, but Laura brings on Dr. Scott Atlas.
Okay, I saw this.
Who looks like he just got out of the bar at closing time. Okay, his shirt is open.
He's disheveled.
Right, he's kind of laying back. And the two of them are having a game of, I guess this is an old parlor game that they used to play in the 1940s in those film noir movies, a game of projection. We're going to suggest 50 things that are wrong that we're the ones that lie about and tell you that it's them. It's Dr. Fauci said, they always go through this. Dr. Fauci said, don't wear masks. Dr. Fauci says things are never, ever going to get better. And now Dr. Fauci is saying that the vaccine from Pfizer, it's a great thing. He's not allowed to say that. He's a hypocrite. It's just bullshit after bullshit after bullshit with Dr. Scott Atlas for about 3 minutes. Then they cut him off. But we're at this point where truth and lying are having this tug of war in the country, and you do have to pick a side.
Yeah,
you really do have to pick a side here. And when you read about the internal war, which apparently there is somewhat of an internal war over at Fox between the idiots who are on at night who just lie on behalf of Trump, and a lot of the other people who still want to be proud at the Thanksgiving dinner table to tell their relatives that they work at Fox, the news part, the honest part, the part that is not biased,
the part that called the election for Joe Biden, the part that called Arizona on election night,
exactly,
for
the
Joe
honest
Biden.
part, right? But you're tainted. You're done.
Yeah.
You're not getting another job. you're all unemployable as far as I'm concerned.
There's just bizarre shit going on. That Mike Pompeo thing yesterday also, who turns out to be a gigantic asshole.
Well, is he playing the I was just joking and you don't get the joke card?
Which is always like the last refuge of anything.
Yeah,
right?
you know you're full of it when you're doing that. Where there's going to be a second there's going to be a peaceful handoff
to a second Trump administration.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's so funny.
You sycophantic dick! Just shut up. Really, I saw some.
Then Trump tweets out, "Now you know why Mike was number one in his class at West Point."
Yeah.
And by the way, where are your grades, Don? We want to see your grades in addition to your tax. Oh, I'm sorry. Either of those would have been eliminators. We can now look back because we've had an entire 4 years. We can look back on all the things that Trump judged as being too much, that if they were ever shown, ever revealed, would have eliminated them. And he decided it was his tax returns, his grades, right? Mm-hmm. And then the totality, you think about the totality of non-disclosure agreements that people have signed. Apparently anyone within 200 miles of him who ever did any kind of business with him had to sign these non-disclosure agreements. And I would say, this is just my opinion, I don't have a non-disclosure agreement with Donald Trump, so I can't prove it's true. I just think it is. I don't think there's one person who signed one of those agreements who couldn't break it right now.
Oh, sure.
And it would not matter. Donald Trump is going to be too busy, too tied up, and strapped for cash too much to be able to hire a lawyer to come after you anyway.
That's true.
And I'd just let it all out. I mean, again, we're going to have to build another wing at the Library of Congress to hold all this shit that's going to come flooding out here beginning in about 73 days. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, his record with lawsuits is not that great. I mean, it's really bad, as a matter of fact. All of these challenges have been bad.
And so all these people, all these people, 45 years in public life, really, going back to the 70s. And I think they're all going to talk. I think everybody's going to talk.
Why wouldn't they?
When it's time.
Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? I did see Boris Johnson, the prime minister of Great Britain. He was talking. He said he had a great conversation with Joe Biden. And Joe Biden is having all these conversations with world leaders who are congratulating. I guess Trudeau up in Canada has been completely obnoxious about and by obnoxious, I mean completely appropriate in saying, hey, I had another conversation with Joe Biden today. We're looking forward to working with him. Everything's going great, et cetera, et cetera. So, all of that stuff is happening. And I know that's just pissing Donald Trump off to no end. It's just destroying him. And it's not about pissing him off because he wakes up in the morning pissed off. He's pissed off with the world because he hasn't got enough love. People haven't shown him enough loyalty, all this other shit. By the way, if you did go to military school because your parents couldn't figure out what the fuck to do with you, do you get to claim you're a veteran? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, that's why he went to the to Arlington today, because he identifies with the veterans.
Clearly, I mean,
being one himself. Yeah, right.
And that's the only reason they sent him to military school. It's been well documented by anybody who knows anything that his parents couldn't figure out what to do with him because he was awful. He was an incorrigible piece of crap. And they were like, military school.
Well, as you can see, military school sure turned him around.
Yeah. I don't even think that's an indictment of military school. There's some people they can't even save, right?
I love the fact. I think Francis Ford Coppola is about 2 or 3 years ahead of Trump, older than him,
right?
And went to the same school.
That's funny.
And they didn't, apparently Coppola didn't really know him at all. Because, if you're a senior, you don't know who the damn freshmen are.
Clearly.
But I just apparently some other famous people went there also, none of whom came out as maladjusted, as Trump. But then this is garbage in, garbage out. You can't expect a military school to fix that. Nothing can fix that.
So the New York Times did the big investigation. They called officials in every state, and they have no evidence of voter fraud. I know it's no surprise, but I'm glad that journalism is still being practiced in this country. Thank God for the media.
Excuse me. I have the answer to that.
Fake news?
No, just because they didn't find it doesn't mean there isn't any.
Oh, I love that. I love the disproving of a negative. That's so fantastic.
Just because you couldn't find it doesn't mean it's not there. And now here's a guy in the shadows. Hi, how are you? I'm holding a piece of paper over my face for those of you just listening. Hi, I'm here. I'm him.
It's just, I mean, honest to God, there's like the shame gene completely missed any of these people. They continue to try to parade this down the field. If there was some way they could do some birtherism against Kamala Harris, they would probably do it, right? If there's something that would get her to produce her, where was she born? Was she born in India? Because I don't know if Kamala Harris is actually an American citizen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll stick with that. Did you read Friedman's column today?
I haven't seen Friedman's column yet.
All right. Well, Friedman's column is all about. It's another take on the death of truth, and he traces it in the modern era, meaning the world of Trump, back to once Trump was allowed, meaning it wasn't stopped or no one denounced him, on the Barack Obama birtherism trail, which he rolled with that for what, about 4 or 5 years, mostly unabated. And just because Obama just nailed him along with Seth Meyers at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, that didn't stop Trump. That did not stop him at all. In fact, popular wisdom has it that helped inspire Trump to decide he was going to run. But once Trump saw that he could gain a foothold, that he could create a mass of people who would follow him and believe him over a known lie, and all the way through I have a 15-person investigative squad in Hawaii right now digging up things you won't believe about Barack. Once he saw that he could do that.
Was he doing the 2 weeks gimmick back then? I'm going to release it in 2 weeks, or is that something that was in the presidency?
Why am I guessing that Trump has been doing the 2 weeks thing all the way back to when he was about 5 years old, and his father had Roy Cohn over for dinner one night, and they talked about some bullshit real estate deal in New York that they were lying about to people, and I'll get back to you in 2 weeks. He didn't just start the 2 weeks thing. He didn't start the 2 weeks thing now. It's been forever.
You know, John the Catholic and I have always been big fans of Todd Rundgren. He had a tour one time called the 2 Week Wonder Tour. So Donald Trump is the 2 week wonder. All the way going, everything is going to be in 2 weeks. I'll get you this in 2 weeks. He probably told those independent contractors he never paid that he was going to pay him in 2 weeks. I'll cut you a check in 2 weeks, right? That just seems to be an amount of time that's perfect for him.
This is, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. And Wimpy never paid, did he?
Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger announced a hand-counted audit of the presidential vote in his state. This guy's been kind of they've been asking for him to resign. This guy's been not very popular among some folks.
Well, hang on. Remember, he is the Republican Secretary of State.
He is.
It is his God-given job to fix elections and make sure that Republicans win. But apparently, he didn't read the script, and he was playing it the way secretaries of state are supposed to across the country, with some rare exceptions in American history, like Katherine Harris in Florida, and people like that in 2000. Most of them do try to run honest, fair elections. As you said, the New York Times has called all 50 of them. None of them have anything. This guy had nothing to say about dishonesty, but he's caving in. They're going to do a recount, and it's not going to matter, and it's not going to change anything. In fact, I'll lay you 2-1 that Biden's lead increases by, I'm going to say, between 50 and 100. What is it, like?
That's
14?
crazy.
It's like the difference is like, I mean, usually it does change a little bit, and it'll usually change hardly ever more than 200 votes ever. So I'm going to go with 79 votes. There'll be a recount, and Biden will actually extend his lead by 79. You pick a number. Go ahead.
No, I think that's right. I might even go higher than that. I might even go, 10%, 1,400, kind of 1,000 to 1,400.
You think, no, now remember what you're doing. You're going against history.
I am.
That's never happened ever.
I know.
You are actually going with the Trump argument. that it's a significant number. Not that that would change the election. It's not going to be that high. It's going to be in favor.
It's going to be in favor of Joe Biden, though. I'm saying it's going to be in favor of Joe Biden.
You think he's going to gain that many more votes?
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing how much they're going to find. By the way, we had our first Trump sighting in a while. He held his first public event since last week. He was at Arlington today. He came out of the basement.
I don't count that as a public event. That was a photo op. Long-range lenses. Did he answer any questions? Did he say anything?
He never answers any questions.
Hello. He answers. What? He's helicopter Don Trump. He'll stand there for 20 minutes and outlast you. He loves to talk. Did he say anything today?
No, he didn't say anything.
That does not count. That does not count as coming. That's like Hitler going down the street to get a newspaper and then going back in the bunker before he pulled out the Luger and blew his head off. That doesn't count as a public appearance.
I'm gonna go get a paper and I'm gonna blow my head off.
Yeah, you know, he was a lifelong subscriber to Der Spiegel.
I wonder what Ziggy is doing today. Oh, and then that's it. It's over. Is that how it ended, Brad?
Yeah.
Oh, Kathy still likes the chocolate. Done. Saved. Done. Republicans kicking off their double-barreled runoff campaign for both of Georgia's U.S. Senate seats. That became a little more intense because Alaska has said that the Republican has won that race. So, in fact, the Democrats need to win both of these in the runoff in order to make it 50-50. Of course, Kamala Harris would break the tie. Marco Rubio was in Georgia. As a matter of fact, he was in little Marco Rubio, Brad, was in Marietta. He was not mentioning voter fraud. There was no voter fraud out of little Marco's mouth, Brad.
Well, look, the Republicans in the country, the Republicans in Georgia, and the Republicans as they relate to Donald Trump sitting in Washington, whining and bitching and complaining with people on Fox and the right-wing media, and the Republican senators, 49 out of the 53, saying absolutely nothing except support for Trump, tacit support, even though 53 out of the 53 know it's bullshit. So we have 4 out of 53 kind of saying cut the shit, 49 out of 53 pretending to support Trump. Yes, every legal vote must be counted. He has every right to take this all the way, all that. And it runs into this calendar of death because it overlays the attempt to motivate people in Georgia to get out there on the Republican side to vote these two completely inept, incompetent, moronic, idiot senators back into office. So it flies against, number one, what happened last week. Georgia went blue. Yeah. Georgia went blue. And so you have that level of motivation there. You have Stacey Abrams, who may be the greatest vote organizer in American history.
I can't
think of anybody.
Absolute superstar. She is so important.
And you have the calendar that runs through December, the middle of December, when the electors are finally chosen, and then they certify the election, and I guess it's December 15th. So that means the Trump fake attempt to find votes in about 5 states that would equal 1 million vote, overturn all these, which is not going to happen. I don't even want to discuss it. I don't even want to go there. Here's what he has to do. He's trying to sow doubt in the entire system. And while you're sowing doubt in the entire system of elections, and keep in mind, you have to remember that what happened on election day all across this country is Republicans got elected, and on that same ballot, votes were changed only against Donald Trump, because the people who were tampering, I'm putting this in quotes, with the votes to deny Donald Trump his rightful election, they wanted Republicans to win, but Trump to lose. Now think about that. Just think about how stupid that is. Why didn't they go across the board? Why wouldn't they try to take out the whole Republican Party?
Well, they wanted to make it look good. They knew that if they did too much, then the people would start looking into it. I think that's
so you're going to have a deflation factor well after Thanksgiving, midway through December, when finally Trump has thrown in the towel, and he will. There will be a point. I don't know when it is, but it seems like about middle of December when the electors, and they're not going to get people in states like Nevada or Michigan or Wisconsin to completely pollute the electoral college and deny the will of the people. It's not going to happen. And this goes back to all the criticism we level at the electoral college, all the criticism of our electoral system, yet the decentralized aspect of it, where there's local control, where there's state control, is the last barrier between Donald Trump really doing what Hitler did in the 1930s, which is get legitimately elected and then figure out ways to maintain power and convince the German public that the whole system was corrupt and he was the only one that could fix it. Sound familiar? So they're fucking up, and they're very likely to lose both of those races. And Joe Biden may have himself a Democratic Senate. I by the way, I can't imagine that it's going to be a split decision. Can you? I can't imagine one person say, I'm going to vote for the Democrat here. I'm going to vote for Kelly Loeffler.
Yeah, but I'm also
on this one. And I'm going to vote for now. Kelly Loeffler's running against the Reverend, right?
Warnock, yeah.
Right. And Purdue is running against John Ossoff.
I
can't believe they're going to that's going to be a split vote. How could that be? How could that possibly be?
That sounds like something stupid North Carolina would do. I think Georgia's got their shit together a little more.
We apologize to our Georgia viewers and listeners. We're sorry.
Am I right, though? Am I right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that sounds like something messed up. North Carolina
because obviously a lot of people voted for Roy Cooper, but didn't vote for Cal Cunningham because Cal Cunningham sent some texts. Way to go.
Well, he may have had some sort of relationship with that woman in his own house. Which
Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit if he fucked her on Fifth Avenue. I don't care if he did.
He could fucking midget on Fifth Avenue. I would have still would have voted.
You people elected Donald Trump, okay?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. We're talking about Democrats in North Carolina, right?
Which is weird, right?
Oh, shit.
It wasn't until Election Day that now Politico is highlighting this story that some of the religious vote peeled off for Donald Trump. And they peeled away from Donald Trump, I should say, and they supported Joe Biden. And the Trump campaign is somewhat flummoxed and dismayed.
Really?
That some of the religious vote, I mean, they still maintained a lot of it, but they got enough of Biden to help elect him president of the United States. It says between 47 and 50% of Catholic voters supported Trump, a small decline from 2016, but enough to cost him those Rust Belt states that mattered most to his path of victory.
Yeah, well, you can pick whatever group you want that Trump, in one way or another, has been offending for 4 years. And if any of those groups were going to lose or peel away from Trump, it was going to cost him. Because we have to get away from this myth that Trump won some kind of resounding victory 4 years ago. He didn't. He slid in on his fat ass.
He did.
With the help of third-party votes, which if those didn't exist, Hillary Clinton would have won the damn election. And that really annoys me. Well, there's no proof that if Jill Stein wasn't running, that those votes all would have gone to Hillary Clinton. Bullshit, they would have. Of course they would have.
Nationally, the president carried white Catholics by a 15-point margin, according to the AP Votecast data, marking a significant decline. It was a 33-point margin of victory over Hillary Clinton 4 years ago.
That's a lot of people. That's a hell of a lot of people. Catholics are like a quarter of the country.
This is our second Catholic president. Is that correct? That Joe Biden is going to. So, I mean, and it should be said, it was a way easier to be a Catholic in 1961 than it is in 2020. So God bless you, Joe Biden, for hanging in there. I really do appreciate it. The Trump campaign is, again, this is going to be another one of Donald Trump's grievances. Look at what I did for you people. Look at all the great things I did for you people. And
it's too late.
And you turned your back on me.
See, but he's yesterday's news.
Yeah.
A little bit more every hour. With every tweet, it fades. It fades quickly. And that's like death to him. to not be in the spotlight clearly is like death to him. And there's just not a thing that he can do about it. And he can cry and whine and bitch. And I would just think, based on the lineup of surrogates who are going to be in Georgia over the next 6 weeks or so, that it's huge advantage to the Democrats. When your firepower as a Republican is, oh, Mike Pence is coming in 2 weeks. Woo. Boy, can that guy whip up a crowd or not, huh? Marco Rubio, please.
Meanwhile, for the Democrats, it's going to be Joe Biden. It's going to be Kamala Harris. It's going to be Obama. Michelle Obama may take a trip out there.
Oh, Sasha Obama will be there.
She would be bigger than anybody. They get on
will be there.
The dogs, Sonny and Bo, are going to make a trip down there. Sure, there's no question.
Did you see Biden's dogs? The two,
Champ and Major, or the two German Shepherds.
Two nice looking dogs. Two good dogs.
Two good, and it's going to be great to have dogs back in the White House, because we always have dogs in the White House, except for the past 4 years, because even dogs, great judges of character, think that this guy's a massive asshole.
All right,
and it's true.
All right, I'm going to take us off the road here for a second. We're going to go to a pit stop, a rest stop here. All right.
Okay.
And I was not aware of this, and this is in the realm of, I'm pretty sure it's true. I can't prove it's true, but people who know say it is true.
Yeah. That
the Donald Trump problem with the Depends that he wears all the time has been a very, very important part of his presidency. Okay. And if you go and look at all kinds of video from over the years, when people would get close to him, for instance, walking up to the podium, if he would introduce him, you would see them move back, because apparently Donald Trump, how shall I say it, shit his pants constantly. And I always thought that whole thing about Trump likes to campaign, in the East, maybe in the Midwest, so that he can get back on the airplane and get back to the White House at night. He likes to sleep in his own bed. That kind of fits in with that whole thing. And apparently his hygiene is horrendous. He really doesn't brush his teeth. Those are not his teeth. And his breath could knock over a shit wagon full of buzzards at any given moment.
A shit wagon full of buzzards. What, did you grow up in the coal mining country of Kentucky? Where did you ever get a phrase like that? I heard some really folksy mountain shit when I was growing up, but I never heard anything like that.
Well, you can take the kid out of Ohio, but you can't take Ohio out of the kid.
Were you in the next holler over from Loretta Lynn? Is that where you were? Jesus Christ.
These are very disturbing things.
I'm just looking at
adult,
Red.
and by the way, what it does, it really harkens back to his drug use, his hyperness sometimes when he comes out and speaks, and other times he's low energy. Donald, that's a feature of an Adderall user. Someone who might even snort it, open it up.
Well, that makes sense to me, because he was wanting to drug test Joe Biden before the debates. That's classic projection, right?
Oh, that was off the charts projection.
Yeah, that's not
discussable projection. But apparently, he really was a heavy cocaine user during those disco years.
Yeah, I think one of the sons may have inherited that gene. If you see Don Jr. on TV, he sweats a lot, has red eyes, and I think he fiddles with his nose quite a bit. But I'm not saying anything. I don't want to be sued. I'm just saying he has some of the characteristics that might be involved in something like that.
And any current use does explain the Donald Trump sniff. All the time.
There's no way. I just find it hard to believe that he would be able to use cocaine now, as unhealthy as he is.
I'm not saying cocaine now. Now it's Adderall,
and he snorts some Adderall. But here's the thing about Adderall. If you use Adderall, it tends to be an appetite suppressant. A lot of people, like the girls at college, use it to lose weight. So I can't. I mean, that part of it doesn't make sense to me. That's the only part of it that I would question. This guy's stuffing food into his face as much as he possibly can, and he's fat as fuck. That part doesn't make sense to me as far as the Adderall.
Well, he wanted to prove that it wouldn't do that to him.
He
wanted to be the one guy.
That should be the Donald Trump T-shirt he should wear in public the next time he goes in public, if he ever does again. I beat anorexia. That should be the Donald Trump.
I beat coronavirus. I beat anorexia. I'm Superman.
I am.
I'm Superman.
Pastor Robert Jeffress has come out and publicly revealed he believes that former Vice President Joe Biden has, I don't even like the phrasing. I believe that he has beaten him. No, motherfucker. I believe that there's air going in and out of my lungs right now. That's not a belief. That's just a fact.
But see, the important thing is, in the realm of what matters, it is what you believe. See, if it came from the opposite direction, where he would have said, "I don't believe Biden won," we'd be pasting him. Okay.
Well, true.
So on the other side, we'll give some space for anybody who at least will make the step away from "I don't believe Joe Biden won" to "I believe Joe Biden won."
Yeah.
Okay. Because what that does is it puts the onus of the evidence back onto Trump, of which there is none. That the election was rigged or fixed or altered or screwed up in a whole bunch of states. I love the fact that, and when it's such a Trumpian thing, don't just lie, go big lie. Because obviously the biggest lie now is Michigan. Michigan, the difference is like 140,000 votes. Yeah. Okay. So, wow, that's going to be, they're going to have to fill up the University of Michigan football stadium with all those people who were in on the plot. And by the way, you'll still need about another 35,000 people to stand outside. You know, kind of like the people who couldn't get into my rallies. There's thousands of them out there who would be part of that big plot in Michigan. I mean, it's beyond the realm of speaking factually and answering anything that they say. I mean, how many court cases do you have to lose? How many times do you have to have judges roll their eyes at you saying, "Why am I here? Why was I born? I can't believe that you..." And I love the campaign against the two giant law firms. It's one I think it's in Columbus. And the other one is Jones Day, the famous Jones Day law firm, which, by the way, that law firm should be put out of business. You know, they should have done to them what was done to the United Klans of America about 20 years ago when they lost the court case and they were bankrupted and went out of business. This law firm is evil. They are the worst of the worst. And you know who got plucked out of there 4 years ago? It's Don McGahn, came from Jones Day in Washington and New York. And they're one of the biggest.
This was the statement that they put out yesterday, though. It says Jones Day is not representing Donald Trump, his campaign, or any affiliated party in any litigation alleging voter fraud. Jones Day is also not representing any entity in any litigation challenging or contesting the results of the 2020 general election. Media reports to the contrary are false. Jones Day is representing the Pennsylvania GOP in pending litigation brought by private parties in April of 2020 and the Pennsylvania Democratic Party in August of 2020. So they're saying that he's too much of a loser for them to fuck with him, right?
They're immediately trying to distance themselves from this because I'll bet you they couldn't put out that statement 5 days ago, right? Because they saw the pressure. Because you can just imagine what their clients were saying on the phone the last 6 days following the election, if they were starting in and helping out on some of these quote unquote lawsuits in 5 or 6 states. So you fucking pull this shit on our country. We can find another law firm. There's always another lawyer.
There is, okay?
There's always another lawyer. We don't need you. You're not.
These may be corporate clients that retain them for and they're like, nah, we don't. We're out. We're out, dog. None for us.
Yeah. So who are we going to represent? Some giant corporation we have on retainer for $50 million a year, or Donald Trump in a hopeless case of frivolous lawsuits who doesn't pay?
He's never going to pay. This is the thing about attorneys. You can say what you want to about attorneys. People have all sorts of lawyer jokes and shit. They prefer getting their money. All of them do. And when you don't pay them, they tend not to work for you in the future. And word gets around, hey, he's not paying lawyers. Fuck him. We're not going to represent him then, because that's really part of what they do. That's how it goes. So yeah, I'm glad that they put that thing out there. These are just the most absurd things. These lawsuits are just lawsuits, really, in name only. They're a joke. They never make it past the opening statements, do they?
I don't even think they're I don't even think they've actually been filed. because nobody. I don't think they have
joke.
the standing to do it. It's all just garbage. It's just crap.
This is when the media, as President Donald Trump continues his legal fight against the election results, Ivanka has moved on to celebrate that big win in Alaska, Brad. President Trump and Senate Republicans win Alaska overwhelmingly and by a massive 20-point lead. The first daughter has cheered. Put Alaska in the books for Donald Trump. Congratulations, Senator Dan Sullivan. Thank you, Alaska.
Yeah, you got those 3 electoral votes out of Alaska. That's going to change everything. See, here's the deal. Alaska has always been one of the last states to report because it's a giant state.
Yeah.
And
it's
they probably
3 Texases, right?
They probably have an antiquated system, and they probably have a lot of hand counting that has to be done up there.
Yeah, villages of 10 people.
Hang on, there was never any doubt
there wasn't.
that Alaska was going to vote Republican.
Right.
It's nothing. It's nothing. Zippo, nada, zero, irrelevant. No one was thinking that Alaska was going to, it's not going to matter. And the same with that senator up there. It was never a question.
Dan Sullivan.
I mean, did you hear at any time since Election Day when it became obvious we were going to be, 48-50 or the things might get down to what's going to happen in Georgia? Did you ever hear anybody say, well, of course, that's all depending on what happens up there in Alaska because that one's still in doubt? No, that was never said because it was never in doubt. It was not a question. It was like Idaho. It was like Arkansas. It was like Alabama. It was like 65-35 for Trump up there. Okay. He didn't eke this out. So Ivanka Trump. Oh God, don't get me started.
But you remember for a long time it was like, well, she's really the adult in that White House. She's the one that can talk some sense into her father. There was that narrative out there.
That's right up there with after about 8 different speeches, he's finally become a real president.
So stupid.
That was never true.
Nobody ever believed that.
It's never true about her. I understand that it's considered that she's got a lot more brains than Eric or Don Jr. Whoop-de-doo. So does my trash can that I put out on the streets
it's a low bar
every Tuesday.
It's really a low bar.
Don Jr. Okay. So this is all just noise. It's over. It's done. Biden won. Trump lost.
The last thing I'm going to tell you about, we had before the election, I was telling you about this podcast that Trump Inc. did with Radio Lab, and they were wargaming all these different scenarios. And one of the things they didn't allow the experts on the panel to do was the campaign trying to buy off electors. Because, in some states, it is the law that the electors that are selected to go to Washington to represent them in the Electoral College have to go with the popular vote. And in some states, it isn't. And the electors, they have this thing called faithless electors, and they happen from time to time. Is it beyond Donald Trump and people associated with the Republican Party who want this guy to continue on to try to buy off some of these electors, to try to offer them some sort of favors, either publicly or subversively?
Well, far be it for me to say, oh, that's just not that could never happen.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly this is about trying to extend the game,
right?
To sow confusion, and then if something like that were tried, if out and out bribery were attempted here, again, ready for something stupid I'm going to say. I don't even think Mitch McConnell would go with that. But obviously, they would say,
right.
Back in 1824, Andrew Jackson did it and nobody said, and they'd come up with some crazy shit.
Some about shit.
You can't game out something yourself or via that would be beyond the desperation of this guy, apparently to stay out of prison or to end up completely broke, because those seem to be the two things.
Yeah.
And by the way, have you Googled loser.com yet?
I did see. That's pretty good.
Who did that?
I don't know,
but we know who did, when you type in loser.com in your thing at the top, it goes straight to the Wikipedia page of Trump. It's so funny.
It's very funny. I have no idea, but I think it's fantastic.
Is just perfect. That's a perfect ending, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. All right. we'll try this drivel again tomorrow. We really will. We'll get it right one of these times. But and you know what? We keep trying.
Keep trying.
Mhm.